Hello everyone, welcome to Index Meets. We're in conversation with Michaela Springford today, who joins us from the UK. Michaela is the owner of Blue Bamboo Design. Blue Bamboo Design specializes in bespoke interior products and biofolic design using natural materials. Michaela herself joined the interior design industry 4 years ago, where she went back to university to study interior design and surface materials, something that she's really passionate about, all while raising 2 children. And we're here to get to know Michaela a little better today. Thank you so much for spending this time today with us, Michaela.
You're welcome.
So tell us, what does interior design mean to you?
To me, interior design is very much about making the place, the interior space, inviting, comfortable, really trying to maximize the feeling of well-being for somebody in that space. And that's why we're following this biophilic design strategy to reconnect people with nature, because we spend so much of our time indoors, even more so now, and it's really important. It's underpinned by science now, that that connection to nature, which so many of us have lost, is really important for our mental health, for our physical well-being. It reduces stress, makes us more creative, actually helps learning. So we're very much focused on biophilic design, and actually became very interested in it years ago, before it became quite so sort of popular as it is now. But what we do is we do a more subtle approach to biophilic design. Most people, I think, when you think about biophilic design, they immediately think about plants, they think about vertical gardens, they think about moss walls. But there's so many other aspects to biophilic design, which includes natural materials, patterns that mimic nature, forms that mimic nature. All of these have actually been shown now by scientists to have an effect on our well-being. So this is really what we're trying to kind of push forward with.
That's very interesting. And like you rightly said, we're not meant to be indoors, and we're indoors now more than ever. And biophilic design plays such an important role in our lives now.
Very much so, very much so.
Where do you find your inspiration?
From the natural world, whether that's actually from plants or whether that's from, marine animals, reptile skins, all that type of thing. But I'm also very much inspired by architecture. I love the work of Zaha Hadid, all those biomorphic shapes. I think it was a football stadium in Azerbaijan. It was just beautiful building. And actually, many years ago, I was very fortunate to arrive in Sydney Harbour at something like 5 o'clock in the morning on a cruise ship, and was so struck by the Opera House in Sydney. And even now, whenever I see it, it's like I've seen it for the first time. I think it's such a fantastic building. There's a Spanish architect who I really like, that's Santiago Calatrava. I love his work. But it's also all those sort of the Alhambra Palace, the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, all those beautiful, beautiful buildings and the beautiful patterns there. I mean, there's so much inspiration, I think, in the world around us, from something very simple like a dried flower to something very ornate, like an amazing building like the Blue Mosque or whatever. So I just find so much inspiration in the world. Yeah.
Thank you. That's very interesting. What's the biggest challenge that you face in this industry today?
I think the biggest challenge is really, educating people about biophilic design, really. And nowadays it's it's great because there's been quite a lot of research about the scientific foundations of it and the proof, but it's actually the implementation at making people realize that actually if they do implement this, that, you know, there is a return on their investment. There's research has been done now by Terrapin Bright Green, who's one of the sort of main practices behind biophilia, has done a lot of research into hospitality brands, and there's the Citizen M hotel group who have adopted biophilia and have shown that, you know, people linger longer in lobbies where there's biophilic design. You know, they might actually then start to spend more, buy more food, beverages, whatever. So it is actually sort of getting that message out there that, you know, this isn't just something that's nice to have. It does actually make commercial sense.
True. And I think we're naturally attracted to biophilic design, whether we know it or not. And
Yeah.
and like you said, it's important to educate people and get the word out there about how important it is.
That's right. That's right. Well, there was, you know, the E.O. Wilson, who was a biologist years ago, who termed this biophilia, came up with the term biophilia. You know, said it's we have this innate connection. It's like a genetic leaning towards nature, because actually that's really where we started as human beings. We started living on the land. So it's actually only really recently that we've lived in houses that, you know, we've had offices to go to, and, you know, our lifestyle has changed so much. And I think there's lots of us that question whether the way we live our lives nowadays is really what we are naturally meant to be doing. And I think the current situation might see a change to that. So there is a positive coming out of it.
Yeah, there definitely is.
Mm.
So we'll move on to a couple of fun questions.
Right.
Tell us about your guilty pleasure.
Okay. Well, I've probably got more than one.
Oh, you can share all of them with us. We don't mind that at all.
One of them would probably be watching the Bridget Jones movies.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and there's a scene in the last one, Bridget Jones' Baby, whereby the two dads are trying to get Bridget Jones through the revolving door of the hospital. And I think I've probably seen that clip about half a dozen times, and it makes me laugh every single time I see it. So that's a really good one. And then I must confess, I love dressing up and going to fancy dress parties. So especially if they're sort of like 1970s glam rock music. So I have the platform boots and the flared trousers.
Well, those are the good old classic days. I mean, they never get old. And yeah, I mean, it definitely feels great to be in that time then.
Yeah, I was lucky that I actually lived through it.
And now you can relive it.
Yes,
when you want to. That's great.
And I do.
I mean, I think I'm from the 80s, and I think that, you know, that with the 90s and even the late 80s, I'm not too, like, I look back at those times and I'm like, oh, okay, but the 70s, I think a lot more classier, so much style, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely.
I think it was a very special time, actually. You know, the late 60s, 70s, you know, socially it was quite amazing with things that were going on. The music, I think, was so much creativity, so much variety, fashion. It was just an amazing time. And, you know, I guess we're all quite nostalgic about our sort of like teenage years, but I do think that I can't think of another time when it's just been so exciting and so interesting and innovative, really,
and very original those times.
Yeah. In so many ways.
Definitely. Yeah. Tell us one thing about yourself that not too many people know, Michaela.
Oh, okay. I cannot sing a note in tune to save my life. And only very few people know this. It's actually probably my daughters and possibly my mum. But honestly, if I had to sing to save my life, I would lose my life. I just cannot do it. And I would just love to be able to do it. I would love to be able to sing, but I can't. I wouldn't even sing in the shower because I'm told off.
So no karaoke nights for you then?
Not good for me, no. Or anybody else.
What's the one music track that's on repeat right now?
Oh, okay. I came across this lovely, lovely track last year. I was actually on holiday and I was like trying to find something new to listen to. And I came across an album. It was Quentin Tarantino's music from films and movies. And it was just amazing because it's like my kind of music. And I just thought I'd never, I'm not so much into his films really because violent for me. But his music choice was just amazing. And on this album, there's a song, and it's called "Goodnight Moon," and it's by Shweta Rajan, and it is just so beautiful. The way she sings it is just so beautiful. The words, it's a bit dark, the words are a bit dark, but it's just such a fantastic track. So even though I discovered that last year, I'm still playing it very frequently. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go and look that up and listen to it for sure.
Do. It's such a lovely, lovely song.
Will do. Great. Thank you so much, Michaela, for spending this time with us. It was such a pleasure chatting with you, and we wish you all the very best here from Index.
Thanks very much. It's been nice chatting to you too.